Now if there was a bait on the market that put a smile on your face a little bit like this fellow here, then surely it would pick up some interest. So in this video we take a look at something from 𝗃𝗃𝗵𝗿s that you Europeans have been keeping from us for the last couple of years. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, you beautiful lot, and before we get into it, don't forget to check out CARPology's other social media platforms and subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on that bell for any future notifications. So 𝗃𝗃𝗵𝗿s, who are they? Well, they're a Czech company and they were established in 2004 and in Europe are one of the Premier League sides in pet food development and carp bait. Now this company is huge in Europe and this bait concept to them is nothing new. It's some of the old school people in the UK have used it, but it's never really gone mainstream. So let's have a think for a second. So these Europeans, they do know a little bit about carp fishing. So let's rewind a couple of years. If you'd rocked up to your local syndicate and matey was in the peg next to you fishing with bright orange or bright yellow line, you'd go over and pat them on the back and just make sure they were of sane mind. Roll forward a couple of years, this is a little bit of the norm. And if you're a match fisher or you're playing fish at night, you get to see the advantage of those different coloured lines. Now I have just a sneaky feeling that this type of bait concept might just be a thing of the future in the UK. Now, as I mentioned, CARPology did a video with 𝗃𝗃𝗵𝗿s back in 2021. Now, before I get into that video and some of the comments which I've got here, I just want you to understand the calibre of this company. So they've done collaborations with the Premier League of bait companies. So they've done 𝗬𝗁𝗏𝗏, which, as any match angler will know who's used ground bait, at one point in your life you'd have bought a bag of that ground bait. Huge European company. And then closer to home, a lot of the liquids that they use inside their baits, the collaboration was with 𝗏𝗏 Hutchinson. And I don't even need to expand any further on that because that just shows the level this company is at. So going back to the video, which was some 4 years ago, in true CARPology TV subscriber style, you guys have had and made some colourful comments. But some of them are actually quite interesting. So the question here is, Stringer ? Would the liquid melt the PVA? Well, I'm not sure. So what we'll do, we'll get a PVA bag, we'll pierce the PVA bag and leave it for a while and see what effect the liquid has on the PVA. Now another comment, which is one I really like, is, so it's a donut for fish. Yes, I like that. So if you can imagine a jam donut, you bite into the jam donut, all the jam is inside it. That's kind of what this bait is like. So the other comment is, let's be honest, since when does a carp go round biting boilies in half? It doesn't swim round with a knife and fork, does it? Well, yes, you're correct. A carp does not swim round with a knife and fork because it doesn't have hands. But what a carp does have, for anything it wants to know the texture of or taste or feel, it has to use its mouth. And the theory behind the liquid inside the boilie is that the carp are sucking the boilie more aggressively because they're trying to get whatever is inside of the boilie. So let's take a look at the range more closely and I'll pick out some of my favourites. Now the ones I like the look of and the ones I'm brave enough to smell and potentially taste on camera are these. So I've got the Nomigo Wild Strawberry and Carp Secret, and the reason I've chose these one first is solely because I'm a nosy bugger and it says the word secret on it. So anything that says the word secret on it to me has to be an edge. Oh, do you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of a few things actually. That reminds me of like the nice, like, you know, the massage oils that they use on your like back and shoulders, and you go home smelling of it. It's like, so it almost smells like a cross between strawberries and a nice chilled out spar. That's nice. So in addition to that, we've got the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 acid, garlic and liver, proven big carp bait throughout the world. That is garlicky with like an aftertone of liver. And then we've got monster crab. Yeah, that smells just how monster crab should do. Tiger nuts, we don't need to go over the effect that anything tiger nut related has had on the carp scene. Oh, that's lush. So that smells a bit like tiger nuts and marzipan. Yeah, that's pleasant. Corn and plum, oh, that's nice. That actually smells like it's a mix between like crushed up plums with like corn syrup liqueur sort of squoze on it. That's pleasant. And then this one, which is a bait used throughout the world, which is a pineapple bait, and this is the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 acid pineapple. Oh, that is lush. That's exactly how you would want a good nutritional pineapple bait to smell like. I've also picked out one which quite frankly looks absolutely vile for human consumption, and that is this one. So this one is the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 stink worm, and if you have a look at the lid here, it suggests that there is some type of dead maggot content inside of the liquid. So let's just, they absolutely reek. That's bad. Right, so this is the stink worm, which looks to have maggots in. So let's cut that open like that and reveal what's inside. Oh, look at that. Oh, it does. It actually has maggots inside. Oh. Now I'm going to use something to pull them out because I don't want to touch this. I'll leave that to the carp. So look at that. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. Now I've just gone the van to get the PVA and the hoodie. So we're just going to do the PVA test with it. I've actually found some PVA mesh, so I can do a stringer of types like this. But I understand the question. It's obviously if they thread the PVA string through the centre of the boilie, will it affect or will it dissolve? So what we can do is we'll make this up, and then what I'll do is I'll pierce it a few times, put it on a bait bucket, pour the liquid from another boilie over it, and then we'll know if it's PVA friendly or not. So I'm just piercing the boilie to get the liquid out, and as you can see there, the liquid is starting to seep out of the boilie onto the PVA, and so far it looks all right. So let's just cut this boilie out, put a bit of the juice on it like so, and then we'll give that a couple of minutes. So far it looks like it is PVA friendly, but yeah, we'll check back on that in a few minutes. I'm just going to do a little makeshift rig just to show how the company recommend you're getting the most out of your hook bait. So it's a case of threading it on the hair like so, and then what you can do is once it's on the hair and just before you're ready to cast out, you pierce the boilie like this, so several times. You can actually feel when it hits the liquid as well, because it's quite hard, and then it pushes through into the juicy bit in the middle. All I would say is if you're doing this, remember that these boilie needles are sharp, so make sure the angle you're putting them in doesn't end up coming back through the side and into your finger. Right, so that's pierced a few times. And there we go. Now looking at this one here, I would definitely say that's PVA friendly. I mean, just bear in mind that that is the tiger nut one that I've tried. I've not tried any of the other ones, but the tiger one nut, yes, it's definitely PVA friendly. Now 𝗏𝗃𝗵𝗿s don't just make these pretty amazing hook baits, they also make the matching boilies. So 𝗏𝗃 have kindly sent me the monster crab and the garlic liver, and yes, you guessed it, these also have the liquid inside. Now what they say about these is, when the carp comes along and sucks up the boilie and basically crunches it, it pops. And that pop, yes, the liquid, some of it they'll digest, but other parts of it will come back out the gills. And 𝗏𝗃𝗵𝗿s believe that is then adding more attraction into your spot for longer. So let's just take a closer look at the actual boilies. So let's have a look. I'll cut a few up. Let's just see what they're like. So yeah, you can still see they've got that inner liquid core. And the smell coming out of those once they're chopped up is nothing short of sensational, if I'm honest. Now, as I've already got the convenience of having a lot of bait with me, I think it'd be rude not to chuck a rod out for a few minutes. There we go. Now, just while we're waiting for that rod to roar off, I want to show you these. Now, these are the same principle as the other hook baits that I've shown you. So it's a boilie with the liquid infused centre, but this is also wrapped in micro-pellet. And I think that's a right touch. I've put a few in the margin, which is currently being devoured by a load of tadpoles, but I'll just do a close-up of this so you can actually appreciate what it is. Now, as you can see, these boilies are wrapped in micro-pellet. So that's what it looks like straight out the tub. That's what I've tried to replicate as being in the water for a number of hours, where the boilies pellet has just started to crumb off the actual boilie as the liquid pushes through and just makes that area of bait really, really attractive to Mr. Carp. So hopefully this video will minimise any questions that you have about 𝗏𝗃𝗵𝗿s, but for further information then check out their website. Now, we do know that these baits are doing the do out in Europe, but I suppose the biggest question we have as carp anglers is, will they work in the UK? Now the answer to that is yes. Of course it works in the UK. And not only have I caught a fish, I've gone and caught one of the big ones. Look at that. That's a big old girl of a coronet, 32.5 pounds. And that is a great way to end the video. So I'm going to get this one back and see you in the next one.